What's happening, everybody? On today's show, we're coming to you from the Senior Bowl. I'll give you some of my takeaways from day one here. Bryan Harsin talks with the media for the first time after losing offensive coordinator Austin Davis, who's stepping away from football. We'll let you hear what Harsin had to say, and we'll go around the conference. Part 2 of National Signing Day is today. Locked on SEC starts right now.
You are Locked On SEC, your daily podcast on the Southeastern Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what's happening, everybody? Welcome into Locked On SEC. I'm Chris Gordy. Thanks for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On SEC is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube and at LockedOnSEC.com. Let's jump into it. Let's go around the conference.
Boots out to the right. Takes the handoff. What a catch!
Around the conference.
And we start with today is the second part of National Signing Day. A number of guys will be making their announcements that expect to choose between several SEC schools. We kind of told you a couple of the names yesterday, but just as a refresher, Harold Perkins is the big one, the nation's number one linebacker. He committed to Texas A&M during the Under Armour All-America game, but decommitted a week ago. We will see. LSU is in the mix. Florida certainly has made a hard run at him as of late. Texas A&M also still in the mix. So we'll see where Harold Perkins ends up. Also, top 10 prospect Camar Stewart. He's still in the mix for Texas A&M. A lot of people think Georgia, number 9 overall prospect in this 2022 class, and a player that could make an already elite defensive line group for Jimbo Fisher even better. So that's a name to keep an eye on. And then you have 4-star safety Jacoby Matthews from the state of Louisiana. He is weighing between LSU, Texas A&M, and Florida. Some people think maybe Jacoby Matthews and Harold Perkins could be a package deal. We'll see what they end up deciding. Another one to keep an eye on is running back Trevante Citizen. He's a former LSU commit. He's a 4-star running back. He opened things up after Coach O was dismissed from LSU, and Brian Kelly's come in, and we will see where he ends up. Some people think Florida was building some momentum late, maybe even Auburn in the mix. And, of course, LSU still a possibility for him. So we'll see on those guys. Another guy, 4-star defensive lineman Caden Story. He took an official visit to Florida this weekend. Gators going head-to-head with Clemson for his services. And then Georgia has a running back commit in Jordan James. Some people think that Florida could be knocking on his door. So Florida maybe, they already ended up with Trevor Etienne at the All-American Bowl. Could they get either Jordan James away from Georgia or Trevante Citizen away from LSU and Auburn? All those names to keep an eye on today for National Signing Day. Now, Camar Wheaton was a 5-star recruit last year who chose Alabama, but he recently was away from the team. Now he's made a decision on his future. A report last week suggested he was not expected to return to the Tide. It's the 7th highest rated recruit of Alabama's class of 2021. He has entered the transfer portal. He dealt with a knee injury in November. Nick Saban said at the time he still has a ways to go, was not on the field then, was the number 34 overall player in the 2021 class, and now he is in the transfer portal. So we will see where he ends up, but a little bit of a loss there for Alabama. A lot of people thought he could compete for the starting running back spot, Camar Wheaton. We are here at the Senior Bowl, as I mentioned, and Phidarian Mathis, the Alabama Crimson Tide defensive lineman, spoke with the media yesterday, and during his press conference, he took a playful shot at Georgia, particularly the Georgia players in attendance for the presser. He said, look, I got a lot of respect for those Georgia guys, but we came up short. But let me remind y'all, we still run the SEC now. Let that be known. So Alabama player getting a shot in at the Georgia guys, even though they came up short in the national championship game. Now, a ton of SEC guys out here. I was able to take in some practice yesterday and was able to see a lot of the O linemen and D linemen, and there were some groups. In fact, at one point it was all SEC on SEC. It was Luke Fortner from Kentucky, Cade Mays from Tennessee, Jamari Salyer and Justin Schaefer from Georgia, and Ed Ingram from LSU, all kind of in a huddle going up against one another. Then I saw Brian Robinson from Alabama. He was playing some special teams. Alante Taylor was working with the DBs from Tennessee. Gators running back Damian Pierce. He got a lot of action, and Georgia's Darian Kendrick was out there doing some drills as well. But the highlight came when John Ridgway, the big man from Arkansas, blew up Damian Pierce in a drill in the backfield, drew some wows from the crowd. We will keep you up to date on the latest going on from around the Senior Bowl. Some other notes from around the conference. Kevin Steele, was former SEC defensive coordinator. He is returning to the sidelines. It was reported a couple days ago that he was going to be heading to Maryland, but Chris Lowe of ESPN reports he is now headed to Miami to be their defensive coordinator. So Kevin Steele pulling a little pull the plug on Maryland that quickly. As soon as he accepted the job, now he's heading to Miami. Jack Pyburn, a highly coveted recruit, a 2022 edge rusher. He has chosen his school. He is committed to Billy Napier and the Florida Gators. He had offers from Miami and Auburn. He's the number 36 edge rusher in the class of 2022, the number 55 overall recruit from the state of Florida. And lastly, Spencer Rattler. He is heading to South Carolina, of course, after transferring from Oklahoma, and he has chosen his number. He is going to he took to Twitter to announce that he will be wearing the number 7 in Columbia, just like he wore at Oklahoma. So Spencer Rattler. If you got a South Carolina jersey, get the number 7 and get Rattler on the back, and you will be ready to go. And there you have it. That is around the conference. Thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Coming up next, we'll hear from Bryan Harsin talking about the loss of his offensive coordinator, Austin Davis. That's coming your way next. Of course, it is a new year. That means it is time for New Year's resolutions. And if yours is about getting fit and being healthier, you need to make sure Built Bar is part of your plan. Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Many of them contain 130 calories, 4 grams sugar, 4 grams net carbs, 70 grams of protein. Compare that to candy bars, which are usually double in calories, packed with sugar and all that bad stuff for you. Look, go to their website right now. Go to Built.com. You can choose from so many different flavors: coconut almond, peanut butter brownie, raspberry, cookies and cream, tons of different stuff to choose from. Go to Built.com. When you find something you like, you're ready to check out. Use our promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED15. You'll get 15% off your order. Use our promo code LOCKED15. Get 15% off your order at Built.com. Try Built Bar today. I guarantee you're going to love it. Rolling along here, Locked On SEC, and let's jump right into it because Bryan Harsin spoke to a group of reporters yesterday from the Senior Bowl. I was in that group, and he addressed Austin Davis, already stepping away after he was just hired as Auburn offensive coordinator. So let's jump into it. Let's hear a little bit from Bryan Harsin talking with the media yesterday.
Right, you got another OC search now.
Right.
How does that work with 90-day coming up? And
Sure.
It's obviously probably not the time you want.
No, not ideal. Yeah, definitely not what you anticipate on the coordinators, but at the same time, it is, it happened. And Austin, we hired him for a reason. Felt really good about him. He's a great person. You guys read the statement, so obviously had some personal things, and that's real life. Like, real life happens in football as well, and so we have to be able to adjust. We just got to respond, and that's what I told our players too. Like, these things happen. People have things that come up in life. We do every single day in our program. There's family members that pass away, or people that get injured and things like that. Like, there's real life around football, and that's one of those real life situations. As far as the timing goes, like, you never can anticipate the timing of those type of things. And we will adjust and we'll bring somebody in that's going to help us be successful. And the one thing about our offense is we do have great coaches on staff that know our system. It's not slowing us down right now from getting our players better and getting the new players that we brought in to learn what we're doing. So who we bring in now is going to enhance what we've already started.
How do you balance that in terms of idea? Because obviously Austin was coming from the NFL, bringing in a different set of ideas.
Yeah.
But between guys you've worked with before and guys who know the SEC, how do you kind of balance that when you're looking?
Yeah, I think it's more about finding the right people. Knowing the SEC or knowing the system and all that. I think you got to find the right people that fit your staff, all right, and fit the players more than anything. And so the league, that's important. Continuity, history, that stuff is important as well. But you want to find the right fit. And the staff is different. Places I've worked, this staff is different. Every place is different. So what we felt like Austin was going to come in and enhance what we were already doing, could bring a lot of value to the quarterback room, and then his knowledge of the game. And now who we bring in will do the same thing. Every coach that you bring into your staff, you want them to bring value to what you're doing, but also help you get better. All right. So that's what we look at least that's what I believe. And when we find somebody, we fully expect the same thing, somebody to come in and help us with what we're doing, but also enhance what we're doing and maybe give us some new ideas, a fresh perspective, some ways of doing things that's going to help this team.
You mentioned two transfer quarterbacks who just had their worlds turned upside down a little bit.
What's that?
You just had two transfer quarterbacks come in who just had a shock, obviously, with Austin. How do you talk to them about this? Where's their mindset at right now?
Well, number one, the reality of it is I think our players, they understand real situations. I think we got to give our guys and not just our players, but young people, a lot more credit of really understanding real life situations. That's a big part of our responsibility as coaches, is to teach them real life things and how to respond to it. College is not a career, it's an experience, right? You're trying to help these guys. Yes, we want to win football games, but you're helping them develop as people. Real things happen. And at least for me as a coach, I try to help our guys understand real life things. Yeah, they shocked. Is it something that, okay, we have to work with someone else now at this point? Yes, but they also have coaches on staff that are there for them. The quarterbacks have myself. I've worked with that group. If they need something, they come to me, and really all the guys on our team, but offensively in particular, I'm able to help those guys a lot more than most, especially at that position. So those guys have been awesome. You know what? Hey, they're very resilient. Things happen. All right. They take it all in. They process it. All right. And they move on. They're able to bounce back fairly quickly, to get right back into workouts, to get right back into watching film, to get back into the things they have to do to be successful. And the one thing about, I believe, guys that are in our program now is they're driven, they're motivated, and they believe that we're going to bring somebody in that's going to help them continue to be successful, and we'll do exactly that.
You got this.
Yeah. Portal. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What do you might like to see change?
Yeah, great question. I would love to know what everybody else has answered on that, to be honest with you. What's good about it? Well, it's an opportunity to bring people into your program that fit. What's bad about it? You're losing players in your program as well. It's just kind of a back and forth. I think philosophically, I know as a player, when I played, I know about every single year I would call my dad and have a conversation about wanting to quit, right? Wanting to move on, and just because it's hard. All right, everybody goes through that. You just have in your mind, when there's things that are really challenging and it's really important to you, everybody has those moments, but then you push through, right? They stay, push through, and keep developing yourself. And I still believe that. I still think that's the way. I really do. And I think we got to be careful what the portal is really for. If it's just not the right fit, then there's other opportunities somewhere else. If you have to work through some things, what I believe in my experience is you need to work through that and keep developing yourself. You're also, for us now, you're able to bring in guys that have some more experience now where you need somebody to come in immediately, and maybe a high school player is not ready yet. So you bring somebody in that's more physically and just has more maturity about him and is more developed to go in there and be ready to go play at that position. And a lot of times, from what I've seen, that's the case. Guys are coming in, they still got to compete. There's nothing guaranteed, but they're coming in to play, and there's a reason they're coming in. They want to be a part of that. They've kind of experienced all the recruiting in another place. It didn't work out. And now they want to be a part of your program for whatever reason and help your program succeed.
We'll hear a little bit more from Bryan Harsin in just a second. But thank you guys again for making Locked On SEC your first listen every day. Need to remind you about our friends over at BetOnline. They have you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march through the playoffs, right to the big game in just 2 weeks. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news throughout the season. And it's not just football. BetOnline has you up to the minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline is where the game starts. Go check them out today. Going along here from the Reese's Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, and letting you hear a little bit from our conversation with Bryan Harsin. And first off, wanted to let you hear a little bit of Bryan Harsin. I asked him about the second part of signing day today and some general thoughts on the great class that Auburn is putting together. Here was Bryan Harsin.
The second round of signing day is here, even with the flux in coaching staff. What does it say? You guys are still able to put together such a solid recruiting class.
Yeah, and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. I mean, one of the things recruiting's always happening right now. That's the one thing. First signing period, second signing period. There's going to be another chance to bring guys in at the end of spring. It's just the cycles now. I think other than the first one, I'm not sure the cycles matter after that, right? You have the first signing period. That's the one that you've been working on with guys for 2.5 years. You sign guys, and then after that, you see a lot of things change, right? With the portal, with players that haven't signed yet, there's going to be recruiting that goes all the way on through spring and into summer. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, and then we're going to continue to fill spots as we go through spring, and hopefully by the summer, we have all those spots filled, and we're ready to have the entire team there together in the summertime preparing for the season.
Excited to be here for a big game?
Absolutely.
One more from Bryan Harsin. He was asked about Roger McCreary, who's climbing up people's draft boards. A lot of people see him as a first-round defensive back. Here was Bryan Harsin on Auburn DB Roger McCreary.
Right now, everybody gets to experience Roger in practice, right? And what he does on a day-to-day basis and what it really looks like. We got to see that all year long. We got to see him in meetings. We got to see him how he showed up in the weight room. We got to see how he worked in the off season on his own, out there by himself, doing all the drills so he could be in a position like this. He's from Mobile, so this is a dream come true for him. And that's the type of stuff that I really appreciate, is just all those things that aren't on camera, all those things that people don't see, that guys like Roger, and I'm sure every single one of those guys, have done to be in this position. There's a lot of work to be that elite at your craft, and especially this game. And people get a chance to see that this week in practice and how they operate. And what I saw today, there's the best of the best. Every guy looks good. Every guy's going hard. Every guy's finishing like you want them to in practice, right? Because this is their moment. This is their opportunity. Since they were 5 years old, they've been dreaming about this. They get a chance to go out there and live it. So just to be on the sideline and watch it, to see him in that moment, I'm really proud of him. Happy for him, happy for all the guys, and certainly excited about what they get a chance to do. Thank you.
Lastly, we were able to catch up with Steve Sarkisian very briefly, and he was asked about the thoughts on taking on Alabama next year.
Good to be back in Alabama. Yeah, it is. A lot of memories, great times when I was here. We're looking forward to that matchup against Alabama. We got plenty of work to do before that matchup, but it'll be a heck of a game, be a great environment, and I have the utmost respect for Coach Saban and that program and the kids in that program. So, for us, the best show of respect is us putting our best foot forward and making it a great ball game.
All right, that is going to do it for this edition of Locked On SEC. We'll have more from the Senior Bowl throughout the week here in Mobile. Hoping to catch up with some players as well. So keep it locked right here, Locked On SEC. And thank you guys for making us your first listen every day. Now go make your second listen. Check out the Locked On Bets podcast with your boy Q and Lee Sterling, giving you all the picks that you need. I'm Chris Gordy. We will talk to you guys tomorrow right here on Locked On SEC. Go check out all our great content at LockedOnSEC.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Doing video now at YouTube. I'm Chris Gordy. Talk to you guys tomorrow.